Hello, people of the VC. It's Andy, aka Cloudy Milder, and I think it's time for another three random records. Yes, it is. So I've not done one of these for about 3 weeks. I think the numbers that people have given me this time around, you, probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, maybe for some of them. So apologies for it taking so long to actually get around to you, but I've not forgotten who's given me numbers. If you want a reminder about whether you've put a number in for this series before, check in the description. As I mentioned before, I've got a blog post and I'm filling that in slowly but surely. I've got a big grid with 150 squares on it, and like a big Christmas advent calendar, I'm going to fill it out week by week, episode by episode, and you will see all the 80s metal records, at least, that I've got in my collection, prior to me showing all the new things that I've picked up since I've started doing these YouTube videos. Rules are the same as always. If you enjoy watching these and you want to take part and get a shout out in the process, find a square on that blog post that's not been filled in yet, pick a number, leave it in the comments, and you'll be included in a future episode. Right, without further ado, let's look at some records. So again, I've got three great records to show: two full-length albums and one 12-inch single. This time around, that's just how the numbers pan out, guys. What can I say? So first up, John Bellamy. You gave me number 30. Now, John's got a channel that I really enjoy watching. I wouldn't describe him as he's not a current metal collector at all, but he does have a sizable heavy metal collection, and he is slowly but surely showing that off video by video. I think he's up to about part 5 or 6 now, and he does these periodically in between the other videos that he shows, and he's into a very wide range of music. I think also think he's trying to get into a bit of jazz as well at the moment, so some of his videos are focused around that. And I mean, even though, I mean, my passion's heavy metal music, and I think it probably always will be now. And even though I'm not necessarily interested in a lot of the styles of music that he shows, I really enjoy watching his videos, listening to his stories. He's got a really nice style for presenting, and you know, you can really get into, you can see the passion behind the music that he's talking about, and he does a very good job of explaining why he likes certain music and why he doesn't as well. So I would thoroughly recommend that you check out his channel. I'll leave a link up there ish somewhere. You'll see a little eye. In fact, everyone that I mentioned today, you'll see there'll be one of those YouTube cards where you can click on the link and go directly to their channel. Probably leave it in the description below as well. This is the tradition here. Okay, so what is number 30? Number 30 is album by Keel, The Right to Rock. Now, to me, this is so. This is what? Let's get to the stats. So this is 1985. This is a UK pressing on Vertigo. It's a gold stamp promo, not for resale. So I probably should report the charity shop I bought this out of for breach of conditions, but there we go. Anyway, so yeah, interesting album. It's got a mix of good and bad tracks. Yeah, so I mean, they're kind of considered glam metal. So it's 85. It's before the real glam metal scene really hit off. I mean, you can see they're very much into their image by just looking at the photo there. This album is produced by Gene Simmons, and he has a clear influence. In fact, he's written about 2 or 3 of the tracks on here, and so it starts out okay for me. The Right to Rock and Back to the City, good tracks. But then they have to go and put a cover right in the middle. I mean, if you're going to put a cover in to an album, I always say put it at the end of side one. So if it isn't great, you've got side two to recover from. But Let's Spend the Night Together, the Stones cover, just the sound of it just doesn't fit on this album. It doesn't fit with their style, certainly for me. And I don't really get why they chose it. I mean, it's obviously a song that they like and maybe has influenced their career, but you know, you don't have to put it on your album. There's lots of songs I like I wouldn't put on an album just for the sake of it. But so yeah, so it takes a nosedive after that, and the Easier Said Than Done, So Many Girls, So Little Time. Now they're both Gene Simmons songs, and to me it kind of shows it. It's gone from being quite a good, albeit commercial sounding metal album, to being very commercial sounding, shouty pop rock metal, and you know, I don't really like that. And so by the end of the first side, I'm kind of almost, you know, not wanting to turn it over, listen to side two, and side two starts off with Electric Love, and that isn't that much better. But after that, you know, it gets a bit grittier, it gets a bit more aggressive, and Speed Demon and Get Down and You're the Victim, I'm the Crime. It ends really well, and just to show I've not got a downer on just because it's Gene Simmons. Get Down is actually another Gene Simmons song, so I'm not totally biased against him. So yeah, a mixture of good and bad, really. I think if you took The Right to Rock and Back to the City and stuck it on side two and just released that as an EP, I'd be far happier. But as an album goes, it's pretty good. Great metal cover, guitars and swords. Can't really beat it, can you? The back cover, oh, that's an interesting one. So if you can see in the background here, and here, there are three, I think they're women, I think they're girls, kind of dressed in fetish type gimp suits. But if you look really closely, I noticed first that there's another pair of legs under here, and then you can just see another shoulder there. So there's actually 4 of these PVC clad women on here. So I pity the poor girl behind old Kelly Chasen here. I mean, she's had to put on this whole outfit. She's probably lost a number of pounds just being in a photo studio under the lights, and she's not even in shot. Poor girl. Also, I would say that Ron Keel. So what else we got here? So Brian J, lovely hair, put a lot of effort into that. Ron Keel, not much effort. He is not a very good advert for Robert P. What's his name? Robert P. Richley. Sorry, they've gone to the effort of putting the hairstylist on the credits for the album, and you know, to me, they're not a very good advert for him. So I probably wouldn't use him. I wouldn't look him up in the Yellow Pages if I wanted a hairstylist. Makeup as well, it doesn't really come up. So they've got the makeup artist on here as well, which is Sana. And again, not really seeing the benefits of using this makeup artist on the picture. But anyway, the album itself, nothing exciting on the middle, just a standard Vertigo 80s label, promo copy, as I say. It has its problems, but it has enough for me to revisit on occasions, and I think it would have been better if Ron Keel had waited till he had enough material to release the album by himself without having to have Gene Simmons filler on there, because he doesn't really help this at all. So there we go, that's the number 30 from my collection, picked by John Bellamy. Next up, 66. Mr. Rui Martins, all the way from Portugal. So Rui, It's very easy, I know, for people to say everybody knows him, but if you don't, you should do. Again, link to his channel should be popping up about now on the video. An amazing collection. Must have thousands of LPs on the wall behind him when he does his videos. Very knowledgeable. Again, all different kinds of genres of metal that he's into, and you know, the guy knows his stuff. I've picked up a number of records just on the back of his recommendations. One coming up will be coming up soon in a new metal vinyl update that I'm going to do. So yeah, check out his channel. Probably one of the legends of the VC in the metal community. But anyway, I know he loves his thrash metal, so it's probably quite appropriate that number 66 matched up with a thrash, maybe speed metal album, Snow White, Act of God. So this is from 1988. This is on Roadrunner Records, and this is a Dutch pressing. There wasn't actually a UK pressing of this at the time. This is Snow White are a band that I was aware of back in the day. So I first heard of these on a Roadrunner compilation album, Stars on Thrash, which I know a few people have shown in their videos, and their track Baptized by Fire was on that album, and I always loved it, but again, I could never find the album. Certainly in my local record shop, so there was no internet at the time to go look for it. So it kind of it's one I'd never forgotten about, one I always wanted to seek out. So when I started collecting vinyl again, it was one of the first ones that I looked for, and found a good copy on Discogs with the lyric sheet intact, and lyric sheet intact and in superb condition. Just the standard Roadrunner label. Nothing exciting other than, you know, on Roadrunner you're probably going to get some good bands and some good music. This is a great record. Female fronted thrash. Every single track on here is excellent. I know it's not like me. I like to find those little niggly things that annoy me, but you know, credit where it's due. This is great. So we've got Nicole Lee here. She has got a tremendous voice that really suits the sound of this album, this type of music, really well. It's an infectious thrash music. I was before. When I was listening to these albums, I like to sort of, you know, obviously pick off the songs that I really like, and I was writing every single song down. I'm not going to read them all out. In fact, there's a full version of the album on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description, so you know, check that out. It doesn't sound half as good as it does on vinyl, but it'll give you a little idea of what I'm talking about here. As I say, every single song catchy and ferocious. Yeah, blistering. I love it. You know, it's just a shame that it's kind of stopped. You have to turn the record over, but side 2 carries off where side 1 finishes. And the really interesting thing is to say every single song catchy, ferocious, and then Something Wicked, This Way Comes, the last song on the album. It's over 9 minutes long. It's a complete change of pace, and they pull it off effortlessly. I cannot speak tonight. Effortlessly. There we go. And it's kind of the song that if Metallica had done it, it would have been huge. Everyone would have been talking about it, I think. It's a masterpiece. I would thoroughly recommend checking that song out. Check out the whole album, in fact. So it's the interesting thing here, like excuse me. So yeah, so the bands is here. So we've got Ian Tafoya on guitars, Nicole Lee on vocals, Alec Olvera on bass guitar, and Scott Schaefer on drums. But down here, it says all bass guitars were recorded by Scott Schaefer, who is the drummer. I think that's him. Let's get these two guys mixed up. Except two of the tracks here that are recorded by Ian Tafoya, who's the guitarist. So the bass player, Alex Olvera, doesn't appear to play bass on any of them. So I'm not sure why he's here. I know that Scott Schaefer joined the band a few years earlier as the bass guitarist. So whether there was a lineup change, probably a lineup change during recording or just before recording, and Alex Olvera joined just after, but still got credited for the album. In fact, on the Key album as well, there was something similar to that. Yeah, so it listed here that Dwayne Miller plays drums and vocals, and then in a smaller print underneath it says Stephen Riley additional drums and vocals. But from what I've read up, Dwayne Miller actually joined the band just before this was released. Stephen Riley did all the drums on here, buggered off to join Wasp, and Dwayne Miller gets the main credit on the album. So two, by coincidence, I don't know if there's a similar thing that's going on here. Yeah, not sure what's going on there. Anyway, I'll leave a link below to this on YouTube, because if you've not heard it, I recommend you you take a listen to it, pick it up on vinyl or CD if that's all you can get, because it's to me it's a must-have thrash metal band album for your collection. I've got to apologise. I'm in real trouble speaking today. My mouth's gone really dry. Should have got a drink, but there we go. Anyway, last up, I mentioned 2 albums and 1 12-inch single. Number 110. Remember, all my albums, 150 albums, were numbered randomly, so they're not in any particular order. And number 110 was submitted by Nasty Metal Productions. Now, if you don't know his channel, I'm afraid I don't know his real name, so we'll just call him Nasty Metal. So Nasty Metal has been building up a sizable and loyal following within the metal community on the VC. He's a full-on metalhead. He's got a number of different video series on the go. He does a series where he does overrated, underrated, picks out some bands out of a hat and just talks about them. And most of these I've never even heard. So this is a great way for me to actually pick up on some bands that I'm just completely unaware of. He has his own 5 random record series done in his own way. Collection videos. Check him out. He's got some good stuff on there. Enjoy watching them. But anyway, 110, what is that single we're talking about? It is Iron Maiden, Strangers in a Strange Land. So it's from the 12-inch single from the Somewhere in Time album, 1986, UK on EMI, live shot of the back. On the B side, and this is the main reason why, I mean, I own quite a few Iron Maiden 12 inches, and I always used to buy the 12 inches rather than the 7-inch singles, because I wanted to get as many non-Maiden tracks as I could. So whether they were Maiden B-sides or covers, I just wanted to hear as much stuff as I could from the band at the time. So that's the main reason I picked this up. I mean, Stranger in a Strange Land is a great track. I think it's really stood the test of time, and I've just put it on now. It sounds fantastic. But the 2 B-sides on here are both covers, and they're both heavily influenced by Adrian Smith. So That Girl, the first one, is a cover of a song by FM. Written, one of the writers is a guy called Andy Barnett, guitarist. He was also in Urchin and the Adrian Smith project. And apparently Adrian Smith actually plays bass on this song because Steve Harris didn't want to learn it. Similar for Juanita as well. This was originally by a band called Marshall Fury, another one of Andy Barnett's early projects. And again, Adrian Smith plays bass on this one. The cover is typical, classic Derek Riggs. One of the things we used to do is every time I saw a new piece of art from Derek Riggs or got a new album, straight away was trying to find the little symbol, and there we have, right down there. Bit dark to come out, but you all know what it looks like. And yeah, so it's great. It's got Eddie in the Somewhere in Time futuristic cyborg style, kind of like Clint Eastwood in the Mos Eisley Cantina from Star Wars. Okay, so that's a lot. That's 3 random records. Thank you very much, John Bellamy, Rue Martins, and Nasty Metal Productions for your selections. Again, please get involved. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Give me a like if you like this. Keep the numbers coming. You're the guys that are keeping this series running. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll hopefully do another one of these very soon. Cheers.